Every time we sit down at the piano to play a piece of music, we want to make sure that our hands are in the correct position. And we're going to do that by asking ourselves 3 questions. And we're going to ask these 3 questions about our right hand, and then we're going to ask these 3 questions about our left hand. Here are the 3 questions. Question 1, what note am I starting on? Am I starting on C, D, E, F, G, A, or B? Question number 2, where is that particular note in relationship to middle C? Is it above middle C? Is it below middle C? And if so, how far above or below is it? And question number 3, what finger will I be using on that particular note? My first, my second, my third, my fourth, or my fifth? So we answer each of these questions for our right hand, and we answer each of these questions for our left hand, and that's going to give us a pretty good idea of where our hands need to be at the beginning of a piece. Let's take a look at this in relationship to number 2A, the first piece that we're actually going to be looking at the piano. Now, the first thing we notice when we look at number 2A is that this is a piece that has a treble clef. For the right hand, it has a bass clef. For the left hand, so we know how to look at that at this point. Let's take the right hand first. So the treble clef, the right hand. All right, so question number 1, what note are we starting on? Well, let's see, we see a note head here at the beginning that is on the 3rd space in treble clef, and we know that the 3rd space in the treble clef is C, so we know the right hand is going to be starting on C. Okay. Second question, where is that C in relationship to middle C? Well, let's come down here to our piano keyboard. Here's middle C, right here on the piano keyboard. Where's middle C in the treble clef? Well, middle C in the treble clef, if you'll remember, is the C that is on the ledger line below the staff. So the C that we have printed here is actually the C that is 1 octave above. So we will actually be starting in our right hand on the C that is 1 octave above. So this is actually going to be our starting C right here. Okay, question number 3. What finger am I starting on? Well, how do we know? You'll notice above the C, we see a number 1. That note, that 1, is a fingering mark. And some piano music you will see fingerings on, some you won't. In this particular piece, Bartók is being very kind to us and telling us exactly where we need to start. That 1 above the C tells us that we're going to be starting on our first finger. So now we've answered all of the questions. We know what note we're starting on in the right hand. We know where that is in relationship to middle C, and we know what finger we are starting on, our first finger. Let's answer that question also in relationship to the left hand. Left hand. Left hand is starting on, well, let's see, it's on the 2nd space in the bass clef, and we happen to know that that is a C as well. So left hand is going to be starting on C. Where is that C in relationship to middle C? Well, we know that in the bass clef, middle C is found on the ledger line above the staff, right here. So that would be middle C. So that means the 2nd space C is the C that we find on the octave below middle C. So here's the octave below middle C. And what finger are we starting on? Well, again, Bartók has given us a fingering right here. He's telling us to start on our 5th finger right here. Now, if we know that we're starting on our 5th finger in the left hand, we know that we know how our hand is going to sit over the rest of the notes. Our 4th finger is going to be on the D. Our 3rd finger is going to be on the E. Our 2nd finger is going to be on the F, and our 1st finger is going to be on the G. Same thing with the right hand. We know that our first finger is on C. Our 2nd finger is going to be on D. 3rd on E. 4th on F, and 5th finger on G. Now, sometimes you'll get fingerings in a piece of music, sometimes you will not. But you should always feel free, once you figure out what the fingering is going to be, you should always feel free to write the fingering above. So we know that up on here in the treble clef staff, the first finger is going to be on C, so the second finger is going to be on D, third finger is going to be on E, second finger on D, and so forth. So we could write our fingerings out for this entire piece of music. Fingerings are always okay to write in music. Letter names of notes. We are not going to write letter names of notes. We're not going to write C, D, E, D, E, F, G. But we are always able to write fingerings. And in fact, as you get more advanced and you start figuring out fingerings and pieces on your own, you always will write fingerings into your music. So let's see what it looks like to answer those 3 questions at the keyboard. And just to orient us, because I don't have the entire keyboard visible here, I'll say that this right here is middle C, so that we know where everything is in relationship to middle C. Okay, so let's start with my right hand. Let's answer the 3 questions. What note am I starting on? Well, I'm on the 3rd space of the treble clef. That means I'm starting on C. Where is that C in relationship to middle C? It is 1 octave above. So here's C. Here is the C that is 1 octave above middle C. And what finger am I starting on? I am starting on my 1st finger. That tells me something important about my hand position. That tells me that my 2nd finger is going to be on D, my 3rd finger is going to be on E, my 4th finger is going to be on F, and my 5th finger is going to be on G. Now I have my hand position, and that's going to be set for the entire piece. Let's do the same thing with the left hand. And again, just to remind you, this is middle C. So what note am I starting on in the left hand? I am starting on C. Where is that note in relationship to middle C? It is the octave below, and I know that because it is on the 2nd space of the bass clef. So I also know that I'm starting on my 5th finger. That's the 3rd question, which tells me that my 5th finger will be on C, my 4th finger on D, my 3rd finger on E, my 2nd finger on F, and then my thumb on G. Now all that remains for you, since we know where we're starting, we know our hand position, we know that we're not changing our hand position at all during the course of this particular piece, the only challenge that remains for you is now putting this into practice. And the trickiest thing is going to be that sort of mirror image of our 2 hands.